So they
Yeah,
revealed
man.
the Snyder Cut trailer on DC Fandom, and Zack Snyder had a nice little panel about how it came to be and how the fans demanded it, and he had like some emotional moment with the fans saying, "We saw the Whedon version, and we could tell it was off. This wasn't you. We could tell it was off. We wanted to see your pure vision and your pure creation, and inspired us as artists and inspired us as people to go through with our vision." So he had a touchy moment on the DC Fandom panel. Cool. It was totally geared towards his supporters. They had a throwback to the Watchmen sex scene with the Hallelujah song. And honestly, that's a thing for the fan. You know, it played to the fans like Hallelujah, the movie's coming out.
Read between the lines.
I just saw superheroes suffering in darkness, man. I didn't really see anything else. Just a continuation of that dark theming that he has that he just won't come out of. It's just, that Watchmen darkness, that Batman darkness that just doesn't to me work with the whole DC cast of characters. It's cool. Don't get me wrong. It's great we get to see his cut. It's great that we get to see his creative vision of this whole thing. That's what's up. As a creator, I could totally understand. DC Warner Brothers basically said, like, they used your situation to cut you out. They gave you a raw deal. You know what I'm saying? They didn't no longer believe in your vision. They didn't longer believe in your direction. They cut you out, went with an alternative route, and it didn't do them any better than sticking with you in the first place. So it's cool that they were able to come back and say, "Hey, you can release your full version." But on the other hand, it's like what you had to begin with wasn't so special in the first place.
Okay, so we talked about this before, and no, a lot of this just came down to perfect timing. It had to be perfect timing because in a different day and age, we would have got the movie that came out, and that would have been that,
Mhm.
and that would have been that, right? And
Right.
this legendary Snyder cut would just be something that people would be talking about in chat rooms. Looking at the trailer, first thing that jumped out to me was the song, and I remembered the song because that was in the scene from Watchmen.
How Night Owl got his groove back. Right.
Right, exactly, absolutely. But for the most part, I'm gonna say that it is interesting to me that general public is convinced that this is gonna be a different movie, or that somehow, some way, the scenes that were cut out of it being spliced into it are gonna make the story better, make the plot better, whatever, right?
Right.
Like just the fact that there was a groundswell of support for something like this is amazing to me. It blows my mind. And then you see the trailer and it's like, okay, I mean, this does look a little bit different. But the thing I'm wondering is, are the scenes that were shown in the trailer, are those the only scenes that were cut out? Are they going to be added into the movie? And then is the rest of the movie still going to play out the same way? Or is it about sequencing? Like Dark Side, how much of Dark Side that was cut out of the movie and then brought into it is there? Like,
Hmm.
these are the questions that I have. And the fact that I'm even willing to ask these questions, considering that I seen the movie and didn't enjoy it that much, is a W within itself. Honestly, it's a W within itself. And at this level of interest combined to get in conjunction with HBO Max, combined
Mm.
to get in conjunction with this big convention that DC was doing with their fans, combined with a pandemic that prevents people from being able to be there in public. I'm not going to say it's too good to be true, but it's a situation where all of these things had to fall in line perfectly in order for this product to be released to the masses. Under a different set of circumstances, none of this would have ever happened. And the fact that we are here and all of these things happened to pave way for something like this to be released is amazing. It
Yeah,
really
nothing
is.
like this has ever happened before. This is
Right.
history in filmmaking right here.
Absolutely. I agree with you on that. The only part of it that I think is going to be a shame is what if Well, there is no what if. I'm gonna say this is fail proof at this point in time because the people who wanted to see this, I can't see a scenario where they backtrack on it. Even I can't see a scenario where they turn on it. They
Yeah.
tried so hard for this to get released and for this to be something that everybody got to see, to where even if it's the worst thing in the world, they got to treat it like Citizen Kane. They have to. They have to. This has to be
Yeah.
Citizen Kane for them, even if it's complete trash. The vocal majority of people who were out there hashtag release the Snyder Cut, they're not going to backtrack on this.
Oh no. And these are the same people who basically supported Man of Steel and Batman versus Superman. These are the same people who said you just don't understand Zack Snyder's vision. You just don't understand. This is going above your head. What's going on in this film? Like these are the they already like the movies that came out before. This is right in line of what they want to be
Mm-hmm.
continued. I totally get it. The Whedon version, Flash falling on Wonder Woman's boobs and other things like that. It's a stark contrast with the Zack Snyder style. I totally
It's a
get that. It's really amazing that this cut even exists. And I read recently that this is confirmed to be a 4-hour movie.
whoa, whoa.
Yes. Zack Snyder said that it's going to be basically it's 4 parts and they're an hour each.
Right, because initially it was supposed to be two movies.
Exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
one was Steppenwolf and then the other the setup and then you have Dark Side afterwards. So
Okay.
yeah, this is gonna be
So,
4 hours.
but let's get back into the trailer here, right? So I agree with what you were saying in that the characters that we seen, our primary characters in this trailer, Cyborg, Wonder Woman, a little bit of Batman, not much of Batman, and the Flash. None of them look like they're enjoying life at
No.
all throughout this trailer. This looks very dreary and very, I'm not going to say depressing, but we're going to just say dark.
Right.
It looks very, very, very bleak for everyone there. And it seems like it's out of place. Given what we ended up getting after that, given what we got when we seen Aquaman being as much fun as it was, being a little bit more light, not taking itself as serious, seeing this makes it kind of appear a bit out of place for me personally. I'm gonna watch it. I'm definitely interested in watching it, and I will say that Dark Side looks creepy. Dark Side looks very creepy.
Darkseid does look different than I thought he would be.
I mean, Thanos was intimidating and imposing and everything like that, and it could be because of we knew Josh Brolin, and Josh Brolin brought something different to the character, to where he was intimidating but also kind of interesting, charismatic in some respects, and everything like that. But Darkseid, that motherfucker looked very, very scary.
Like if I'm seeing this dude in my living room coming down the stairs, like I'm thinking my house needs to be exercised or something, man.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, he looked
yeah.
like a demon.
I mean that's smart to go more of a scarier, maybe of a horror feel rather than this big intimidating alien that was kind of already accomplished with Thanos. So for them to go a little bit of a different route on his aesthetics and his look, that's a smart move. And
Yeah, he definitely
that
looked like a
yeah.
threat.
Other than that, like you said, it looks like all of our heroes are depressed and going through some turbulent times. Does it contrast with how they're presented outside of the Snyder films? Yes. James Wan did a great job with the Aquaman movie, and Aquaman is not depressed. He's not a king. Aquaman does not feel depressed that he's half human, half Atlantean. He has his dad. He goes to the bar. He drinks with, like, he seems socially fine. Wonder
Mm-hmm.
Woman, sure, she lost the love of her life, but she still has that hope and positivity towards her at the end of the first film. And you can even see that continuing on in the second film. She doesn't seem like her whole life is ruined because she lost Steve Trevor. He casted great for these roles and he gave them a good aesthetic of how they should look. When it comes down to the character itself, he's just off. Everything's so meta and everything's so philosophical that it goes over your head. It's almost pretentious. You're playing the card a little bit too hard, man.
Oh man, talk about it.
a little bit too hard. It's not going over heads. It's just tiresome, man. What you did in Watchmen was incredible looking back, but you cannot take that same style and just blanket that across the whole DC universe. They all have their own style and pitch.
Even going back, 300 for its time was an enjoyable movie. I like 300.
Yeah.
300 was early Zack Snyder. It's not that he's not capable of carrying something out on screen that's going to be entertaining. It's just when you are trying to play the same card and hit the same notes on the piano, you get tired of hearing it. It gets tiresome after a certain point in time. It really does become tiresome because, like you were saying, it looks like you're trying to add depth and deeper meaning that's not actually there. Superman, in my opinion, does not need to be something that requires a think piece in order for me to enjoy it. I don't need my intention on going to see Superman in a movie is to see it, enjoy it, and you know what I mean? Hopefully come back to it later on. I don't necessarily want to watch Superman and then type in Man of Steel and find 3 or 4 think pieces about what this actually means on Google. I don't need that. There's other forms of entertainment that are going to satisfy me in a way to where I'm engaged on an intellectual type level.
We're not saying that you shouldn't intellectually raise the bar on superhero films. It's just when you do it to the point where you're just hitting it over a head and it's just so transparent.
Yep.
But it's just not good, man. It's just not good.
Right. When it starts to look like that's what you're doing, it loses the charm because you're actually trying to do it, and we can tell.
The fans are clamoring, you don't understand it because it's so intellectual. You're going into the Marvel films are so brain dead and dumb that you're not even accepting of this. And it's like, no. Civil War told exactly what Batman versus Superman was trying to tell in a more clear and concise and better way. And entertaining as well, with better acting and vision.
Keep going. What else? Long story short, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch the Snyder Cut. I'm gonna watch it. I mean, I'm gonna watch it. I just need to make sure if it's gonna be 4 hours, I gotta clear out everything that I'm gonna do for the entire day.
I'm gonna see this man's visions out. I'm gonna consume his art, and whether I like it or not, I mean that's up to me, you know. But I think HBO Max is a perfect outlet, thinking because these fans they're gonna pay for it.
Yep.
They're gonna support. These are people who signed the petition. They wanted it. They are going to pay to see his vision done properly.
And I hope that it's good. I'm actually rooting for it. I'm rooting for it because something like this has never happened before.
I'd be happy if this thing came out like, oh shit, he actually pulled it off, and he pulled it all together, and this was a better story than I thought initially. But
gotta see it to believe it.
Show me your receipts, and I'll show you where you're going. So,
last word on this. I seen the first trailer for Justice League back in the summer of 2015. We are now in the summer of 2020. So realistically, we are getting a re-released, recut version of a movie that wrapped up production roughly 4 to 5 years ago. But this is going to be Citizen Kane.
Unless the end of the Snyder Cut, we see Batman in his Batcave and he sees the smiley button on the side of his desk. Yeah, wishful thinking.
Let's go get some lottery tickets, man.